Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. My name is Abby. It is nice to meet you. Today I decided, since I am still technically in quarantine, like the only place I go is to my best friend Lauren's house because she's in my 10-person bubble. If you're from Ontario, you know what your 10-person bubble is, but she's in my 10-person bubble. Her whole family is in my 10-person bubble, so I only go to her house. Anyway, I don't go anywhere. So technically I am still in quarantine because I'm high risk, baby. Because of that, I have been watching a lot of movies and TV shows and stuff still. If you did not know, I made a what I watched in quarantine video before. If you'd like, you can click right up here. You can watch that last one. I watched quite a few things, not as many as this time, I don't think. Definitely not as many as this time, but I watched quite a few movies and TV shows and I reviewed them and everything here. So if you want some recommendations of things to watch, you can watch that one. And then if you want more things to watch, you can watch this one too. So I thought I would do a part 2 of things I watched in quarantine, which is like movies, TV shows, and then watch just one TV show, and then one YouTuber who's actually paused on my TV right now while I film this video. So let's get started. We're gonna go in order of things that I've watched. The first movie that I have on my list is The Florida Project. Set in the shadow of the most magical place on earth, 6-year-old Mooney and her two best friends forge their own adventures while Mooney's struggling mom and a kind-hearted motel manager protect the kids from the harsh reality that surrounds them. So yeah, the movie is based on 6-year-old girl Mooney, who is the cutest. I love this little actress. She has the sass. She's the sassiest 6-year-old I've ever come across in my entire life. But yeah, she's super sassy. Absolutely love her. Her and her mom live in a motel near Disney World. Basically, it's like right on the outskirts of Disney World. It's basically showing the realities of like people who are like living on the outskirts of the happiest place on earth, and their life is not the happiest thing on earth, you know what I mean? So this has Willem Dafoe in it, and I love Willem Dafoe, just saying. Stan Willem Dafoe. Anyway, he plays Bobby, who is the hotel manager, and it's just so good. And the girl that they actually hired to be the mom was an Instagram model that the producers like randomly found, and they liked her and they auditioned her and then they hired her. Anyways, I'm giving you random facts about the movie that I don't need to be giving you. I loved this movie. I thought that it was so good. Like watching the way that Mooney made her life magical when she lived, bless you, when she lived in a like not so magical place was like amazing. Bless you. And then it struck all the heart chords, seeing like her mom struggle and the way that Mooney deals with her mom struggling and everything like that. I gave this movie a 10 out of 10. If it looks any different, I just cleaned my lens and the sun just went, whatever. The next movie I actually watched with Lauren. We had like, this is before we were able to see each other. We watched it over Skype together. Skype? Was it Skype? But we watched the movie The Hate U Give. This was back in April. So this is before like all of the protests and everything started with the Black Lives Matter movement. And I think that people, if you watch it now, you'll definitely like feel it in your heart a little bit harder and maybe even understand the movement a little bit more if you can't already understand it, which if you can't, I'm sorry, but that's like Neanderthal vibes. It's pretty self-explanatory, but whatever. Star Carter, an African-American teenager, faces pressure from various communities and tries to stand up for what is right after she witnesses the shooting of her best friend by the police. So this has, her name's Amandla, I think. Amandla Steenberg. I don't know how to say her last name, and I barely know how to say her first name. I'm so sorry. It's like Amanda, but with an L in it. I think it's Amandla, but I don't want to sound stupid. It also has Sabrina Carpenter in it. It's like she has a smaller role, and like KJ Apa is in it. I absolutely adored this movie. It made me bawl my freaking eyes out, and it genuinely gave me more of an understanding of the racial injustice that Black people in America, Canada, freaking everywhere live with day to day. And it really hit hard. It's just really emotional, and I think that everybody should watch this movie. So I gave this one another 10 out of 10. Two very good movies to start off with. The next movie I watched with Lauren, and it was called The Half of It. I think that it's on Netflix. At least it's on Canadian Netflix, I think. So a shy, introverted student helps a school jock woo a girl whom secretly they both want. And because I'm part of the LGBT community, let me tell you, my little bisexual heart was loving this movie. I absolutely stan movies with a gay storyline. And this was it. I absolutely loved this movie. It was super cute. I don't don't know why I gave it a 7 out of 10, because when I think back to it, I think that it was really, like, I think I should have given it a better rating because I have the ratings on my phone, but maybe I'll stick by it. I'm gonna be honest, I should have written down points about these movies like I did the last time right after I watched them, but I didn't because I'm dumb. But yeah, it was a really good movie. I did like it quite a bit. The next movie that Lauren and I watched, so these were like when we had a sleepover for a couple days and we literally sat there and watched like 8 movies in a row. So the next movie we watched is A Kid Like Jake. Alex Wheeler and her husband Greg are trying to find the right primary school for their 4-year-old son Jake. Described as gender expansive by his advisor, Jake's increasingly erratic behavior starts to cause a rift between the couple. Alex worries that the adults in her son's life are labeling him prematurely, while Greg wonders if Jake's fondness for dressing up might be more than just a phase. So this does star Jim Parsons, who's from Big Bang Theory. He plays Sheldon, who says like bazinga and shit like that. Absolutely hate Big Bang Theory. Kind of loved him in this movie. It has Claire Danes as the mom, Alex Wheeler. It was a really good movie. I did end up giving it, an 8 out of 10. I thought it was really good. So yeah, it is just based around this couple and trying to figure out what's going on with their super young son who likes girly, in quotations, girly things. He likes playing dress up, he likes dolls, he likes Barbies. They've always accepted him for that, but then it's kind of just them coming to terms with the fact that other people aren't as accepting and like them kind of working through that, sometimes together, sometimes not together. Either way, I thought it was a really good movie, and yeah, 8 out of 10. The next movie was the worst movie on this list. Maybe one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life, and that is Flower. Erica is a rebellious teenager who lands in trouble when she sets out to expose the teacher who molested Luke, her mother's boyfriend's son. However, things do not go as planned. Lauren first described this movie to me as a fucked up teen movie, and like, I love those types of movies. Like, when I think of like fucked up teen movies, I think of like 13. 13 was like one of my favorite movies back in the day. Absolutely love that movie so much. But like, you know, teens who were like getting into drugs and like drinking and like dealing with a bunch of bullshit in their life. Like, I love those kind of movies. However, she should have put it more as it's a fucked up, teen movie, because it's a fucked up movie just about teenagers. It's not about like fucked up teens. Well, I mean, it is really about fucked up teens, but it's fine. Anyways, so sorry for all the F shots there, by the way. This movie is the worst, possibly one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I'm just gonna tell you now, it's bad. The storyline doesn't really make sense. Well, I mean, it makes sense, but like the way the storyline plays out doesn't make sense. The teenagers in this movie are so freaking unrealistic that it's like, I actually hated this movie. And the very end of the movie made me want to vomit. And that's all I'm gonna say about this stupid ass movie. I'm sorry, I'm so angry about it, but like, I actually hated this movie. I gave it a 2 out of 10 because like, and I put actual hot garbage beside it. You can't see that. And I don't understand how Lauren even partially liked this movie. I'm gonna be honest. It really made me question our friendship. The next movie that we watched together was Lady Bird. Christine Lady Bird McPherson, a teenage girl, faces a lot of ups and downs in her relationships during her senior year in high school. My cat's running around. And then that's like a very vague one. And like this one also says an artistically inclined 17-year-old girl comes of age in Sacramento, California. I thought this movie was hilarious. It's also by Greta, is her last name Gerwig? Greta Gerwig. She directs a lot of movies, especially with Saoirse Ronan. Saoirse, right? I always freaking get her name wrong. I think it's Saoirse. So I'm an absolute imbecile of a human. Her name is pronounced Saoirse. Not Saoirse or whatever the hell I was just saying. Saoirse. The fact that I even thought that it was wrong and it's Saoirse. God damn. I'm so sorry. It also has Timothée Chalamet in it. Anyways, it's a pretty good movie. I actually really liked it. I thought that it was funny, and I think it made me cry. Most movies made me cry, so I wouldn't be like very surprised if it made me cry. I'm pretty sure it made me cry though. I did give it a 6 out of 10. I didn't think that it was like the best movie I'd ever seen, but it was still pretty good. The next movie I watched in quarantine was Dumplin'. The plus-size teenage daughter of a former beauty queen signs up for her mom's pageant as a protest that escalates when other contestants follow in her footsteps, revolutionizing the pageant and their small Texas town. So the mom in this movie is Jennifer Aniston. And in the movie, the daughter, Willadine, is obsessed with Dolly Parton, and let me tell you, it kind of made me a little obsessed with Dolly Parton. Like right now, my favorite song is a Dolly Parton song. I thought this was a really good movie. It's like your classic girl going out for a pageant when she's not normally like the beauty queen and like saying big fuck you to pageants and then everybody else joining in, and it's just really good. I cried, obviously, and it got an 8 out of 10. The next movie I watched is All the Bright Places. It is I think it's on Netflix. Is it a Netflix original? After meeting each other, two people struggle with the emotional and physical scars of their past. They discover that even the smallest moments can mean something. Stars Elle Fanning and Justice Smith, who was in Detective Pikachu. Like when I saw him, I was like, I know that face. And then I was like, Detective Pikachu, that's what he's from. Anyway, I did read this book years and years and years ago. I don't even know how long ago. The book came out in 2015. And honestly, I probably read it in 2015. I remember taking it out of the library and reading it. And then I bought the book like right after. And I really, really loved the book. So I had a feeling that I would really like the movie. I thought that the acting was like okay. I didn't think it was like spectacular. I thought I would feel like a lot more emotion from the movie, but I still really loved it. I definitely bawled my eyes out as per usual. But yeah, I gave All the Bright Places a 9 out of 10. The next movie that Lauren and I watched was Barely Lethal. While on a mission, Megan Walsh, an assassin, gets intrigued with the lives of the other teenagers who are her age. She decides to fake her own death and enroll herself in a school. This has my future wife, Haley Steinfeld, in it. I freaking love Haley Steinfeld. Obsessed. So this was a very cheesy, very classic, like early 2010s teen drama, not even drama, teen comedy movie where like the jokes were all really cheesy. It wasn't really good or well acted. Like think of like Mean Girls 2, but better. That's what the vibes that I got from this. It also had Jessica Alba in it, which was kind of weird, and Samuel L. Jackson. So like I don't know how much they paid for these people to be in the movie. And Steve-O. Steve-O was in the movie too. Kind of weird. Anyway, I think the main reason that I actually kind of liked it was because of Haley Steinfeld, because so I did give this movie a 6 out of 10. It's not my favorite movie. I don't think I'll watch it again, but it was okay. The next movie I watched was an actual nightmare. The next movie I watched, a lot of people have watched it, I know this already, was 365 DNI, or 365 Days. So this is a movie that is on Netflix currently. Massimo is a member of the Sicilian family mafia and Laura is a sales director. She does not expect that on a trip to Sicily, trying to save her relationship, Massimo will kidnap her and give her 365 days to fall in love with him. That sounds freaking creepy enough, right? But it's like, people compare this to 50 Shades of Grey. It is nothing like 50 Shades of Grey whatsoever. 50 Shades of Grey, even though it's still unrealistic, shows like BDSM in a relationship. This movie just shows abuse. It's not even BDSM. It's horrendous. This movie made me so uncomfortable. I'm gonna freaking have to watch the stupid sequel when it comes out. But anybody who says that they want somebody to treat them like Massimo treats Laura is stupid. I said it. There you go. You want somebody to abuse you? It's fucked. So I gave this movie a 3 out of 10 just because hearing that man say, "Are you lost, baby girl?" That's pretty much the only reason. That's the only saving grace of this entire movie. And the fact that I'm going to spoil a part for you, but it's not really a spoiler, when she falls off the boat. Literally the only redeeming parts of this entire movie. I said what I said, and I'm sticking by it. The next movie I watched, just kind of on a whim, but it was on my list of movies to watch, is 8th Grade. Kayla Day, an 8th grader, is introverted but also posts videos about self-confidence on the internet. Later, she realizes she's not the person she's pretending to be and overcomes her fears. So this movie was so cute, and it absolutely reminded me of 8th grade me, like how awkward this girl was, and like the weird things she did, and how, I don't know, self-conscious she was as an 8th grader and like wanting to fit in and all this stuff. I felt that. This kid was absolutely incredible in this movie. So awkward. And that's 100% what I would have been like if I had a freaking YouTube channel in grade 8, and it makes me uncomfortable because I was watching it and cringing the entire time. But you know what? I loved this movie. I thought it was so cute. I thought it was such a good representation of like actual 8th graders rather than like the weird ones that you see on TikTok nowadays. Like that's what it was like in 8th grade, not what that is like. TikTokers who know how to do dances, and I don't even know I don't know the dances. So 8 out of 10 for 8th grade. The next movie I watched solely because I have seen the first movie and wanted to see the second one The next movie I watched was Unfriended Dark Web. A teen comes into possession of a new laptop and soon discovers that the previous owner is not only watching him, but will also do anything to get it back, as you guessed it, on the dark web. The same thing as like the first Unfriended movie, not that I've talked about it on here before, but it's exactly what you expect it to be. A cheesy horror movie, some stupid humor thrown in there, and it's not actually scary unless like you get scared from some jump scares and like the thought of somebody watching you on your webcam and like taking over all your shit. Not a very scary movie, but you know, it's exactly what I expected it to be. I wasn't expecting greatness, so I did give it a 6 out of 10. I don't remember if I liked Unfriended more than that or not. I watch a lot of these movies because I like to have a good laugh. And it gave me a good laugh. So 6 out of 10. The next movie, I watched Rocket Man. After completing his studies, Reginald begins to perform rock music at local clubs. Later, he meets John Reed, a music manager who helps him rise to fame, but also creates chaos in his life. So, if you did not know, Reginald is Elton John. So this is not a biopic. Kind of based on Elton John and his life and his struggles through abusive relationships, alcohol abuse, coming to terms with his sexuality, everything like that. I absolutely loved this movie. It made me cry, obviously, and I love Elton John's music, so hearing Elton John's songs, kind of like getting insight on how he came up with the songs was really cool. Not all of the songs, and I'm also very glad that they played my favorite song by Elton John, which is Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. But yeah, I absolutely loved this movie. It tugged on my heartstrings, and there was some funny parts. I don't know. It was just really good. And I love these kinds of movies. So I gave Rocketman an 8 out of 10. The next movie is an interesting one. The next movie I watched is called Blame. A substitute drama teacher at a suburban high school develops a taboo relationship with an unstable student, sparking a trail of jealous sabotage from the student's peers. This was a very weird movie, especially since the main, like the girl who is unstable's name is Abigail, but sometimes they call her Abby, and so I was like, it was interesting. It wasn't good. The acting was bad. The storyline wasn't good either. It was just like one of those cheesy, crappy, not even like a Lifetime movie, like a Walmart version of a Lifetime movie about a girl who falls in love with her teacher, and it was kind of weird. That's kind of all I have to say about that movie. I'm not gonna get too much into it because I just can't. So I gave Blame a 5 out of 10. The next movie, probably one of my favorites on the list, even though I didn't give it a 10 out of 10, which is weird if it's one of my favorites. Either way, the next movie I watched was Boy Erased. Jared discovers that he is homosexual and tells his family. However, his father sends him to a conversion therapy camp where he is introduced to some questionable philosophy and methods. Sorry, I totally screwed up there. So this movie has Lucas Hedges, Nicole Kidman plays the mom, and one of the main reasons that I found out about this movie is because Troye Sivan is also in the movie, plays a smaller part. So this is based on a memoir of the same name by, I think his name's Gerard Conley, even though the character's name in the movie is Jared. Not the same, but either way. Or maybe his name is no, I think it's Gerard. Either way. So yeah, it is based on a boy who gets sent to conversion therapy camp. And this is actually one out of 2 movies that I watched about conversion therapy in the past couple of months. And it freaking broke my absolute heart. It has multiple songs by Troye Sivan in it, which like absolutely helps because Troye Sivan is my favorite singer, in case you did not know. It's crazy to know that this stuff actually happened to this boy and to read actual updates at the very end of the movie and everything. I don't know. It was really good though. I did give it a 9 out of 10. I think I might change it to a 10 out of 10 though, because it was so good. We are almost to the end. I still have like 5 more movies, a TV show, and a YouTuber to get through, so please sit tight. The next movie that I watched is Unsane. Sawyer Valentini involuntarily admits herself to a mental care institution. She soon realizes that one of the staff members is a dangerous stalker and tries to prove her sanity before it is too late. So this movie has Claire Foy in the movie, and it was actually really good. It was surprisingly good. It wasn't what I expected it to be. I expected it to be a lot better, if I'm gonna be honest with you, but it was still pretty good. And basically, without giving anything away, the entire time you are sitting there wondering if this lady is actually insane or if people around her are insane. And you just never know. Honestly, even by the end of the movie, I wasn't sure if I knew. If you guys like thrillers, it's not even a horror movie, but like thriller movies, suspense movies, you would definitely like this one. I did give it a 6 out of 10 because I didn't think that it was perfect. My ratings are all over the place. I write them I write them down fresh in my brain, and then I don't write down the reasoning. So yeah, like I said previously, I definitely need to start writing down the reasonings behind them because I don't know why I only gave it a 6 out of 10. I remember it being pretty good, but again, these are movies from like a month ago. I haven't really watched any movies in the past like 3 weeks to a month. Either way, I gave it a 6 out of 10. The next movie on my list is Booksmart. Academic overachievers Amy and Molly thought keeping their noses to the grindstone gave them a leg up on their high school peers, but on the eve of graduation, the best friends suddenly realized that they may have missed out on the special moments of their teenage years. Determined to make up for lost time, the girls decide to cram 4 years of not-to-be-missed fun into one night, a chaotic adventure that no amount of book smarts could prepare them for. I'm just going to read off who's on this because I don't remember any of their names. Caitlin Dever, Beanie Feldstein, which I'm pretty sure is Jonah Hill's sister. It also has Billie Lourd in it. She played a very weird character. I thought this movie was hilarious. It's like a coming-of-age comedy. It is so funny. I laughed out loud in so many parts. It was really good. It was a feel-good, coming-of-age friendship movie. And I loved it. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I gave it an 8 out of 10. After that, I watched Always Be My Maybe. Childhood sweethearts have a falling out and don't speak for 15 years, only reconnecting as adults when Sasha runs into Marcus in San Francisco. Although the old sparks are still there, the couple live in different worlds. So it has Ali Wong and Randall Park in this movie. It also has Keanu Reeves in part of it. Freaking weird. So it is a comedy. I thought it was a really funny movie. It's just like a classic rom-com. You want a good classic rom-com, go to Netflix, watch Always Be My Maybe, and you will love it. I did give this a 7 out of 10. The next movie I watched was The Miseducation of Cameron Post. In 1993, after teenage Cameron is caught in the backseat of a car with the prom queen, she's sent away to a treatment center in a remote area called God's Promise. While she's being subjected to questionable gay conversion therapies, she bonds with some fellow residents as they pretend to go along with the process while waiting to be released. So this is the other movie that I watched that was about conversion therapy. I know that this had a couple, people were kind of iffy when talking about this movie. I think that it's adapted from a book. Anyways, I know that there was some controversy because people didn't appreciate that Chloe Grace Moretz wasn't gay in like a main role of someone being gay, because you know there's not enough representation of LGBT people in the media already, and then to have it portrayed by someone who isn't a part of that community kind of sucks. So yeah, like I said before, it does star Chloe Grace Moretz. I absolutely love Chloe Grace Moretz. There's been so many movies that she's in that I actually adore. Like when I was younger, when I was like 19, Kick-Ass was one of like my favorite movies. She was a child in that movie, but it was so good. I thought that this movie was really good. Again, tugging on the heartstrings, really showing you what like the realities of these conversion therapy camps are, and making you really freaking pissed off that some of these still exist, and especially pissed off that there's some politicians, the vice president, who still believe that these things should be around. Absolutely freaking disgusting. I thought it was really good. I did give it an 8 out of 10. The fuck is this movie? Oh. The next movie I watched is Something Great. Dumped by her long-term boyfriend, a music journalist recruits her two best friends for one last outrageous adventure in New York City before she moves to San Francisco. So this has Gina Rodriguez, and I think that she's in Jane the Virgin? Is that what she's in? Ah! Brittany Snow is also in this movie, which was surprising. Rosario Dawson was in it. RuPaul was in it, which was amazing. DeWanda Wise, I think that's how you pronounce her name. DeWanda, I'm assuming. I don't want to sound like an asshole. This movie was really funny. I actually really liked this movie. I think that if you want a classic like breakup movie, then this is probably a good one for you to watch. Especially because like I became single in quarantine, so it was definitely a good watch for me. But I thought it was really funny, and it's just like a good girls movie. You know what I mean? So I gave Something Great a 7 out of 10. There is something else that I watched that I cannot believe that I forgot to put this in here, because I filmed this probably 2 weeks after it came out, and I am honestly ashamed of myself. Hamilton came out July 3rd on Disney+. I've watched it probably over 10 times already. I was absolutely obsessed with the soundtrack for the musical last year. It was my #1 played artist on Spotify with like 60 something hours. I absolutely adore this musical, and being able to see it recorded on stage was amazing. 10 out of 10. I'm embarrassed that I forgot to put it in here. Hamilton probably trumps all of these, just saying. Not a good enough reason to word the use Trump. I'm having a stroke. Not a good enough reason to use the word Trump. I'm sorry. That is it for the movies that I watched during quarantine so far. I'll probably watch more. I don't know if I'll do the part 3 though, that's a lot. But the one TV show that I have on my list, because I'm actually not done it yet, but I've rewatched the majority of this. This is a rewatch because I've watched it like 3 billion times in my life. I'm gonna finish it probably in the next like week or so, is Vampire Diaries. On her first day at high school, Elena meets Stefan and immediately feels a connection with him. However, what she doesn't know is Stefan and his brother Damon are in fact vampires. So right now I'm currently watching the last season, and I've rewatched the show 1 billion times. It's 10 out of 10 on my list. I can't give it anything else. It's one of my favorite TV shows of all time. I absolutely love Vampire Diaries. And if you ship Elena and Stefan, you're wrong. All I'm gonna say, Stefan is a baby back bitch. It's fine. I love it so much. It brings happiness to my heart. So Vampire Diaries, 10 out of 10. And the very last thing that I have been watching a ton of in quarantine is a YouTuber. And honestly, the last like week or so, it's all I've been watching on YouTube. I genuinely haven't watched anything else. So the YouTuber I've been watching is Eleanor Neal. She is a UK-based YouTuber and she makes true crime videos, but a lot of the cases that she covers are solved, which is so nice because so many of the true crime YouTubers that I watch are unsolved cases, and sometimes you just want to have some answers. So watching a solved case is so satisfying. I've literally watched probably 40 of her videos in the past week. I am obsessed. I love true crime already. Like, I'm a true crime addicted biche. I have loved watching true crime since I was a child, which sounds really weird, but I used to watch Dateline every Wednesday, especially To Catch a Predator. I kind of fell in love with Chris Hansen as like a 10-year-old, and now he follows me on Twitter. So hi Chris, you're definitely not watching this, but love you. So watching her is just like a breath of fresh air. I'm gonna be honest, her accent made me laugh so hard in the beginning. I couldn't focus on the content of the videos because of her accent, but now like I love her accent. I don't want to listen to anybody else talk about true crime without an accent now. I absolutely adore Eleanor. If you want to check her channel out, I will put it in the description down below if you like true crime videos. But yeah, I'm giving her a 10 out of 10 too. I haven't found a single video that I haven't liked, so there's that. So that is everything that I have watched, again, so far in quarantine. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you are not already. I'm a very small channel. I know this probably isn't gonna happen, but I would like to hit 3,000 subscribers at some point. I know I need to like post more. I need to have like a schedule, and I need to like find my niche, because not a lot of people watch variety channels anymore, even though those are like my favorite kind of channels. Not a lot of people watch those anymore, so I kind of need to find my niche. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe. I might do another one, and I already did that one from before. I don't know why I'm pointing up here still. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I will hopefully see you next week, or maybe the week after that, whenever I post next. I don't know. That's when you'll see me. But I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!